At its peak in the 13th century, the Mongol Empire was the largest contiguous land empire in history, stretching from Eastern Europe to the Sea of Japan. Under the ruthless but tactical brilliance of Genghis Khan and his successors, this once obscure nomadic tribe managed to conquer more territory in 25 years than the Romans did in 400. Join me as we uncover the meteoric rise and fall of history's strongest empire that almost defeated the world. Early life of Genghis Khan. Temujin, also known as the famous Mongol warlord Genghis Khan, was born around 1162 near the border of Siberia and Mongolia. It is reported that his mother was kidnapped by his father and was a victim of a forceful marriage. The early life for Genghis was violent because nomadic tribes were fighting amongst each other during that time. Before the age of 10, Khan's father was poisoned because of a rivalry with another clan. At that time, Genghis's clan abandoned him along with his 6 siblings and mother so that they would have fewer mouths to feed. Because of poverty and sibling rivalry, Khan killed his older half-brother to gain power within his clan. In this attempt, Genghis was captured and punished by the clan. However, he managed to escape because of his quick wits. Genghis Khan makes alliances. In 1178, Genghis Khan married Borte, with whom he had multiple kids later. Like his mother, Borte was also kidnapped by someone else, but Khan made a bold rescue. His bravery was applauded during the rescue and paved the way for his warrior status. The successful rescue enabled Khan to make alliances with tribes who saw him as a warrior. He also started gaining followers who were impressed by his bravery and fighting. After this, Genghis Khan united the Mongols by going against the regular customs. For example, Khan put his competent allies in key positions within his clan instead of giving those positions to relatives out of blood loyalty. He also killed the heads of enemy clans to avoid opposition from them and placed the other members of those clans into his own. Finally, Genghis also told his warriors to stop small lootings until the Mongols won a complete victory. This is why he also organized his fighters into groups of 10 people, each with no families. By 1205, Khan established himself as a competent warrior amongst his tribe. He also gathered his followers, allies, and other tribe members to announce the establishment of a new nation. This nation was similar to modern Mongolia in size. Khan sets rules and begins his first campaign. After uniting his tribes, which amounted to 1 million people, Genghis Khan set some ground rules for his nation. For example, he prevented people from getting inherited titles to reduce the number of tribal fights within the nation. He also banned his tribe members from selling and kidnapping Mongol women. Khan also announced that enslavement of other Mongols and livestock theft would be a punishable offense. Death punishment was chosen for this purpose. Once the rules were put into writing, Genghis also included more points, such as freedom of religion and diplomatic unity. When these tasks were completed, Khan began his first campaign outside Mongolia. The campaign was held against the Xijia Kingdom, which belonged to northwest China. Khan and his warriors launched multiple small raids, but in 1209, they made a significant initiative that allowed them to reach the gate of the Xijia capital called Yinchuan. At the capital, Genghis Khan initiated a false withdrawal, which was the signature technique of the Mongols, so that their enemies would be off guard. Then, the cavalry started a siege to flood the city, but they failed. However, the Mongols managed to scare the ruler of the Xijia kingdom. The ruler submitted to Genghis Khan and also presented him with gifts. The Mongols attacked the Jin dynasty. Many people wonder about the reason why the Mongol Empire became the strongest empire that came to dominate the world. Well, it all began with the Jin dynasty. After gaining access to Xijia, Genghis Khan proceeded towards northern China and camped outside the territory of the Jin dynasty. However, the ruler of the dynasty made the mistake of sending Khan a letter that said their empire was as vast as the ocean, while the Mongols amounted to a handful of sand. The statement was true, but it still enraged Genghis Khan. This is also the reason why Genghis Khan wished to conquer the world, so that no empire would compare to the Mongolian Empire. From 1211 to 1214, Khan made various raids against the Jin dynasty. Food shortages also started occurring in the city, which caused the ruler to kill its own peasants to save resources. After that, Genghis attacked Zhongdu in 1214. You may know this place as the famous Beijing today. he launched a slow siege due to weather conditions and other reasons. Khan's primary purpose was to crumble the Jin dynasty slowly. In early 1215, Beijing was entirely under the Mongolian rule. With this win, Genghis Khan brought the ruler of the Jin dynasty to his knees. It was marked in history that a warlord who was illiterate and a victim of a joke by the most extensive Chinese empire brought its downfall. The Mongols expanded their empire. After the big win against the Jin dynasty, Genghis continued to deploy raids against different empires to gain insurmountable power. This is the reason why the Mongol Empire became twice as large as the Roman Empire. He sent messengers to the Khwarezmid Empire, which is now known as modern Afghanistan and Iraq. The friendly message was not received well by the ruler because he sent back the head of Khan's ambassador in a sack. This incident sent Genghis Khan into a fit of rage, so he decided to plunder the entire city instead of trying to make friends with its ruler. The Mongolian ruler deployed an army of 200,000 warriors against the Asian Empire to set an example. A 5-month siege took place against one of the cities under the Khwarezmid Empire. 10 people were killed by the Mongols each day in this city. By the end of the siege, all the libraries within the city were nothing but rubble. Every Mongol soldier was also allowed to kill 300 people. They slit the throats of most men in the city. The death of Genghis Khan. After the Asian siege, Genghis took some rest within his expanded empire. However, he decided to deploy another siege again around 1226 to 1227. Unfortunately, Khan was not meant to lead the battle because he fell sick in 1227. The Mongolian ruler died a few days after falling ill. His body was transported back to his nation for a proper burial. The gravesite of Genghis remains a mystery to date. Legend has it that Genghis told his people that he wanted the entire world for them, but his time was cut short. He also encouraged his people to continue with the sieges and expand the Mongol Empire until it became the strongest in the world. This is why, even after Genghis Khan's death, the Mongols continued to raid different empires for the next 7 decades. The Mongol Empire expanded to Europe. After Khan's death, his son Ögödei Khan continued in his father's footsteps and led multiple sieges. One of his prominent achievements was to expand the Mongol Empire to Europe. In 1237, the ruthless Mongol army entered central Russia and ransacked multiple towns until the soldiers reached Kiev. They besieged the city and killed everyone, as per sources. The Mongols then continued their siege to Poland and Hungary. By 1241, the army was attacking Vienna and Western Europe was on the verge of coming under the rule of Ögödei Khan. However, Western Europe was saved by the untimely death of Ögödei Khan. The armies returned to their nation to give their ruler a burial and elect a new Khan. However, they never returned to Western Europe after this. The fall of the Mongol Empire. Ögödei Khan's death led to his wife getting power until a new ruler was elected. She made changes to put her allies into powerful positions, which led to disunity amongst the Mongol Empire. Multiple rulers came into power after that, and the discontent among the Mongols started to grow. This eventually led to a civil war within the Mongol Empire. By the 14th century, the power of the Mongol Empire faltered, and it was no longer an empire that dominated the world. The nation also lost many of its western cities, such as Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, and Lithuania. The Mongol Empire flourished under the rule of Genghis Khan and his son Ögödei Khan. However, like all other empires, the Mongol Empire also became a victim of community discontent and civil wars, which eventually led to its downfall.